I think as a writer, you need to look at yourself as a problem solver, and I have the answers. These people need to make movies. These people need to make shows. I have the content, and I'm an asset. I'm giving that to them, but I have it ready now.
What can writers do to make themselves more employable?
I think always be ready. Think always have that stack of ideas, and preferably also scripts that are just ready to go. I think the last thing you want is for you to come across someone or meet somebody and say, we need this. And you're like, give me a week. It's like, no, I got this. I have this for you. And I think that goes back to being a problem solver. I think as a writer, you need to look at yourself as a problem solver, and I have the answers. These people need to make movies. These people need to make shows. I have the content, and I'm an asset. I'm giving that to them, but I have it ready now.
How fast do the producers expect you to write these scripts?
Well, again, everyone is different. It can vary, but it is the TV movie industry is sort of a volume business. So, relatively faster than other genres. I would say typically around a month for a script, and that may include a couple weeks as well for an outline or detailed treatment. And then you usually get, allowed a couple weeks for a draft, a rewrite.
So you're going in, you're pitching, you have some ideas. Are your ideas like a paragraph that you're pitching?
It varies a little bit, but usually at least a log line. Well, of course, at least a log line, sometimes only a log line, and then sometimes just a pitch paragraph, which is literally a paragraph. And for myself, I like to create a paragraph that has a beginning, middle, and ending. And that way you just get a little quick sense of the story. In that paragraph, I always try to, of course, include, the obstacle, happy ending, what's different about the story. But usually I like to send many log lines just to clear out the few ones that are already taken out for reasons out of my control. Like they just made one like that. The network didn't like the last one that was somewhat similar. There's 2 in development that are too close. So if you send 5 ideas in and 4 like that, and you have all your hopes up for these 5 ideas and 4 just aren't even in the running because of something out of your control, I like to know that first. So maybe start with many log lines and get them down to a handful and then expand to a paragraph.
Yeah, because going back to your sort of original pitching back in the day, you said you had around 2022 with your writing partner or so.
Yeah.
And they liked 2 of them.
Right. You're playing the odds a little bit. They're going to nix a lot of ideas for many different reasons, and reasons that you're not expected to know. Like I don't know of a certain company of their 20 movies in development. How am I supposed to know that they have one, even remotely similar or the same theme or the same location or what have you? So I like to kind of get those no's out of the way, I guess, instead of putting too much hopes on a certain idea and then it's like a quick no. It's like, now you're crushed. I like to just kind of have plenty. And then once they say, yes, we like this idea, then you can really dig in, knowing that there's potential for it to get made onto a paragraph, onto a 1-page.
And are you ever given the script back and say, you know what, for our budgetary things or actor thing, we need to actually rewrite it?
Very much. Very often, yes. Very often. So many of rewrites and drafts are focused on production problems or production reasons. That includes number of actors, locations, dialogue, number of scenes, everything. And so yes, a big amount of the rewrites in the TV movie industry is taking the story that was what it was and now making it fit for the budget.
And do you find you do more with rom-com versus thriller, or no, it doesn't factor in genre-wise?
I would say maybe equal. I would say the thrillers are sometimes a little easier to keep the locations down. You might have a big long sequence for the last 20 pages, for example. So that's going to give you a big chunk of your movie in a similar location. The rom-coms, it's harder to keep the character count down when you have things that are sort of funny or you need the characters to have allies. It's you really kind of need more characters, and that's a little more complicated to keep the characters down.
Sure, the best friend, the office,
Right.
sort of, mother or whatever. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So you find a lot of the rewrites and the notes at that level are to combine characters, or to cut characters out, which can be a big problem after the first draft. It may seem simple. Hey, let's get rid of, the ex-boyfriend. It's like, okay, well, we can. But, it's not like you just go in and press delete, under his dialogue name. You got to fix the entire story. And that's very much part of the notes.
Jason, how are you getting to pitch people? Like, where are you getting these contacts?
Well, it initially started by getting several movies made in the thriller genre for Lifetime and what have you. And basically, once I was able to get established there, within the same companies, a lot of them had rom-com divisions. And so they naturally would look at my material or take calls or meetings with me based on the fact that I had already had several movies made. And from there, that kind of just grew. Sometimes naturally through other people saying, I know this producer, he's along the same lines of what you've been doing, and they'll put us in touch. And then some of it from my own, pursuing people and emailing and LinkedIn and finding people that are making the movies that I have in my back pocket, that I have ready to pitch and ready to a couple, finished, what have you. Because a lot of, like I was saying before, what might not be right for one company may be great for another. So it's a little bit of, I wouldn't say networking, but just being involved in that genre for a few years, you naturally are going to be led to other people.
Right, from having been an actor on set.
As well, yeah, from having to be an actor, I've been able to, pitch and call and ask, favors of previous producers, directors, writers, whatever actors I've worked with, and some of that's paid off just by asking. So as far as for advice, I would say, do your diligence on who's making the movies of the type of script you have. Do your best to make sure that it's something they need before putting all your eggs in one basket. And then if you have absolutely no ties to show business, there's some interesting ways nowadays, everywhere from LinkedIn to Instagram to social media, of course. Find what they've done on IMDb and I'm not going to say track them down too much, but as a professional, as long as you have some value to give to them, find your way to contact them and give them a short pitch if needed. Yeah, you are right. It's an interesting question because I know that was so frustrating for me for years. But then, there's some things like, for example, once I got a few movies made, then people around you would notice and say, hey, I work with whoever, and I work with whoever, and you must know what you're doing, So I know it doesn't really answer the question for beginners or people really struggling to get that first thing out there. It's sort of a, sort of an advice for, hang in there, get that first thing going. But yeah, it is frustrating.
No, I think they're good tips. I mean, some people might have said like screenplay contests. I don't know always how. I don't know if I want to go down that path because sometimes I'm not sure.
I don't know either. I've never had any luck, I guess.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean, referrals are always best too. Maybe I should have said that.
Well, yeah, but if someone's not in LA, but LinkedIn, you never know who you can kind of meet on LinkedIn. Again, it's kind of like Craigslist. Scary and then great. So
right, yeah. If it works out, it works out. Yeah.